Is the concrete niche saturated? That's what I'm gonna be talking about on this video. It's the question everybody is asking, whether you're saying it or not. For anyone that's new to this channel, new to me and my content and what I do, I've been doing this business model for 7 years. And it wasn't a complete 7 years. There was a little break in there where I tried to build a software company, but 7 years since the time I started it. When I first got into this model, I kept getting told, the riches are in the niches, the riches are in the niches. We gotta find this crazy niche that no one's ever thought of, and that's how you're gonna make your millions of dollars. And so I tried all these niches, and finally in 2020, I thought, man, why don't I just stick to the niches that are tried and true? Why don't I just stick to the niches that have been proven that work? Because that's half the battle, right? You have to have the right niche and you have to have the right city. So let me eliminate the right niche and I can focus on finding the right city. And so I started realizing that there's just as much money, if not more, in the city, in going in the tried and true boring niches, the concrete, the tree service, the spray foam installation, yada, 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 and just focusing on picking the right city. And so this is what happened in 2020, and I scaled up. In 2020, I focused primarily on tree service. 2021, we focused heavily on artificial grass. And then in 2022 was the year of concrete. And I've been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. So I wanna give you guys my honest thoughts. And first and foremost, let me start with this. Let's talk about saturation in general. Is this industry saturated? I do not honestly believe we will ever see a time when this business model is saturated to the point of a drop shipping. And the reason why is there's new business owners coming online every single day. There's how many niches that we haven't even tapped into. And if that day does ever come, it's so far out, I just don't see it ever happening. At the same time, do I believe that there are certain industries, certain niches that because of a lot of us are focusing and talking about these specific niches, they're harder to find cities today in 2023 than it was to find cities, let's say in 2016? Yes. I gave this example with the tree service niche. Back in 2016, 2017, everyone was doing tree service. Everyone was starting to talk about tree service. And I caught tree service in 2020, kind of at the tail end. Everyone that I knew that was in this space, they had a couple of tree service websites. Everyone had a tree service website. Everyone had a tree service website. But in 2020, I still, based on my criteria of what a good city is, I started focusing on these lower cities that still had enough demand, and I made a ton of money in tree service. This is years after people would have said it's oversaturated. I knew individuals that had gone nationwide with this niche, and I still pulled a ton of deals. And that's the year that I made $1 million. So what I want to say is this. Do I believe that concrete today in 2023, it's going to be much harder to find a city that's just a banger than it was in 2021 or 2020 or 2019? Of course. Of course, of course, of course, I think and know that concrete is going to be harder to find a city that is untouched than it was a couple years ago. Now, what we have to talk about, what I have to remind you guys is just because there's a lead generator in your city that you're looking at does not mean that you can't go into there. The thing is, a couple years ago, I had this idea that if I was looking at a city and I came across a lead generator, I was immediately out. I was like, well, it's been touched. I'm out. I don't want to do it. I don't want to touch it because it's already been, saturated, whatever. And there was a specific city that I tried, and it was for the tree service niche, and everything looked perfect. And then near the end of my research, I found this lead generation site, which I kind of missed because it was near the top. What I initially did is I tried hitting up this person because I found out what group they're in. I found out who owned the site, looked at the who is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I reached out to them and I said, hey, are you interested in selling your site? And I went and I called the number. I found out they didn't have a client or anything like that. And I said, do you have a client? Would you be willing to sell the site? They basically told me to go eat rocks, eat sand.
Piss off, you nonce.
I said, okay, game on.
Bring it on.
And kind of out of spite, kind of out of let's just test this out, I built a tree service website in this specific city, even though there was somebody ranked at the top of Google that was a lead generator, clearly a lead generator, confirmed lead generator. But even though there was a lead generator, it was still a very low-hanging fruit city plus niche combination. There wasn't a ton of competition. It was low CPC. There was tons of volume. I said, let me just send this thing. And I sent it, closed this deal, and that client was with me for 2.5 years until very, very recently when they went a different direction with their marketing, and we found somebody since, and it was a transition that happened in like a week, so it wasn't a huge deal. But anyway, my point is, guys, we have to realize there's layers to this. Are you going to start seeing more lead generators in these markets that you maybe wouldn't have seen a couple years ago? Yes. but that doesn't mean that you can't still go into that city and niche. There is room for people to play ball. Now, if you go in, you find a lead generator in that city and it's semi-competitive or competitive, get the heck out of there, because I would rather go against Donald, the freaking dumpster rental guy, than I would against the lead generator, because the lead generator probably knows that they're doing better online with backlinks and content and ranking and SEO, the whole thing. But it doesn't mean that it's off limits. So there's layers to this. My final verdict on this is I would still tell you the same thing, that I would rather you go into a niche that's saturated in terms of more lead generators, like a tree service, like a concrete, like a whatever, than to go and try a niche that's not proven, because you're eliminating half of the battle. If you don't know if the niche works and you don't know if the city works, you're just rolling the dice. But at least with concrete, at least with tree service, you know that the niche works, and now it's up to the city. Now, if you can pick the right city, you're good to go. So I think you need to be a little bit more careful. I think you need to look and see, okay, are there lead generators ranking for these key terms? Yes, okay. Maybe I should find out if they have clients. Maybe I should try to buy their websites if it looks like a good city. And you might have to look at more cities than you did before, but I still would rather you go into a tried and true niche than to try some crazy niche that no one's ever thought of, untouched water. I would rather you do this until you get to that $5, $7, $8, $10, $15,000 per month mark, and then you could start to test stuff out, guys. Now, am I saying that if you're brand new to this, your first niche should be concrete? No, I'm not necessarily saying that, but I'm saying that I would rather it be concrete than you go try some crazy niche that we don't know is proven. There's enough people out there trying crazy niches that you just need to keep your ear to the ground. You got to get in some of these groups, guys. You got to get in some of these communities, whether it's my Digital Landlords program, whether it's my free group as a starter. You got to get in with people that are in these spaces, that are talking about these spaces, talking about these niches, to know what people are focusing on. This is a great place too. My channel, I talk about this all the time. So is the business model saturated? Absolutely not. Are there still deals to be found inside of concrete? 100%. That is my verdict. As for me and my team right now, we are not actively looking for concrete deals. I will say that. I am not actively looking for concrete deals. I think we had our run at concrete in 2022, and now this year it's kind of been one of those years where we're making enough money, things are fine, and now we're more of in a little bit of a testing phase where there's tried and true niches, but then there's niches that I've seen people have success in, that I've had a little bit of success in, but aren't completely solid, and those are the ones that we're kind of focusing on. We're kind of in this testing phase this year, and my goal is that in 2024 I can give you guys a niche that we can say, hey, this is the niche, this is the focus, this is what you should go after, and everyone can go and blow up that niche. But guys, remember this as I end this video. I used to think that more people being in the business model, more people being in the niche was a bad thing, but remember this quote: the laws of marketing state that the more familiar a customer is with a product or service, the more apt they are to buy. The more times people and business owners hear about this model, that this is a viable model, that their friends are doing it, they got called last year from another lead generator. Contrary to what you may believe in your scarcity mentality, it's actually helping you, because you might call them. Last year they might have got called by Joey, the lead generator, and they just didn't think it was a viable business model. They thought it was a scam. A year's passed, they've started to hear about their friends doing it, they've started to realize they need it, and they can't find Joey's number. You call them this year, and it's the right time, guys. This is the greatest time for this business model. Get involved or don't complain when you miss the window. I'm out.